And now, from beyond our dimension, this is the JeffMara podcast. Here's Jeff.
My guest is John Martin, classically trained guitarist, UFO experiencer, videographer, and author of the book, The Universe Loves You. John, thank you for joining me and welcome.
Thank you, Jeff. It's a pleasure to be with you today.
John, I think that's a great title, The Universe Loves You. How did you come up with that?
That was actually given to me by our star family. I'd been writing the book for a number of months, and such a deep connection with our star family, and not often, but they will flood me with ideas. And I was thinking the loving universe, and they said, no, the universe loves you. It's active. You know, it's not a passive thing. They absolutely love us. And they've given me beautiful heart-shaped clouds. That's on the cover of my book. And that was in response to incredible, two really large craft that came over my home. And we can go into that as well. But the universe does love us. And I was pleased to have that as the name of my book.
So how did this all begin? I mean, did you just have an interest in sci-fi, or was there some kind of encounter with your family?
I have always had a great interest in UFOs, and the first experience was back in the 70s in my neighborhood in Smyrna, Georgia, which is just a handful of miles from where I live now. And my sister and I, she was driving, I was about 15, and we were pulling into our subdivision, and we have kind of a field, an open field, and this golden energy, about the size of a minivan, just silently went over the field and then over the road, and it was just an amazing thing. But it was years before I saw anything else. And I've played guitar now for 50 years, and in the course of that, I've played for school children and Olympic athletes and Nobel laureates and family and friends and presidents. And I had an event in Atlanta at the World Congress Center that I wasn't told who I was playing for, and they said it was a big event, and bring your equipment to set up in 2 different places. And so I knew it was an important thing. So I had all my equipment, and I had it in my hand truck, and I was bringing it in, and the Secret Service came right up to my face like that. And so I knew it was something big. So I was playing my guitar while all of there were like 500 dignitaries from South America coming in, and they started naming the speakers for the night. Gerald Ford and President and Mrs. Carter and Al Gore and a few others. And I was playing my guitar, and I have a system where you can hear it through all the sound system, and it sounded beautiful before they came in, but I thought they'd turned it down too much, and I really couldn't hear myself through the system, and I felt kind of dejected. And I finished this piece, and I looked down, and there were 2 sets of shoes in front of me, and I looked up, and it was President and Mrs. Carter. And they told me that Andre Segovia was a very dear friend of theirs, and he played that same piece for them in a tavern in Madrid. And if I knew Recuerdos, which is another very famous classical guitar piece, and I said yes, and I played it, and he and I have been great friends ever since. And it turns out that we went to Spain together to sign guitar labels for the Carter Center winter auction. And we had dinner, and the person next to me brought up UFOs. And it was just, I was kind of taken aback because I didn't think, that would be a subject that would come up, but he was very open about it. And it was just an incredible experience. And that was the impetus, Jeff, for me to start my work with projecting into the universe.
So after hearing President Carter speak about it, Did you just remember how you saw one many, many years ago and start thinking, maybe I can try to somehow attract them?
Well, what I did was I used that incredible dinner that we had and just his openness to the subject. And if a person that I respected so much was open to the subject, and then I used Close Encounters of the Third Kind, where music was used as a communication tool. And so I just put, those two ideas together. And I thought, well, if I were to sit out on my deck and play music that I've loved my whole life, and then at the same time project deep into the universe thoughts of love and positive thought, I was just curious if I might get a reaction from the universe. So that was the mindset that I had. And Jeff, it was only maybe 2 or 3 sessions. And I just finished playing and I walked my dog, Bodie. He's been part of my team for years now. And we were walking back in, and directly over our home was a purple plasma craft. It had a rotating pink ring around the bottom third of the bell. It was silent, sitting directly about 50 feet above our home. And I ran inside to get Karen, my wife, and all the alarms were going off in the house. I guess they were scanning to see who I might be, because I guess somehow I had found the key to contacting them. And so she came outside and she had her white robe on and she was just looking and going, wow, what in the world? And it just sat silently for about 5 minutes and then kind of left about 5 miles an hour. And I had my phone with me and I was trying to get a picture of it, but my phone was, the screen was blank. And then when it finally crossed the trees, then my phone popped back up. So I guess, they really didn't want to be videotaped and or filmed. And I guess I can understand that. But Jeff, it was amazing. It was absolutely incredible.
What do you mean by projecting into the universe?
Well, that's really what my book is concentrated on. I feel we all have the innate ability to communicate what's important to us. We do that with each other all the time. And we can also do that by communicating beyond this realm. And when you use your heart and mind and spirit in a very positive way, and then send it. And I guess the important part was I didn't know how to do it, but I did it anyway. And so I was playing Bach and Ravel and Ponce, who's a great composer, and some of my original work and Spanish composers. And at the same time, I was just sending with my mind positive thoughts. And it moves it into a quantum realm, Jeff. It's not localized. Time and space don't really apply. You're doing it here, and there's an entanglement on locally and also on the other end of the universe and all points in between when you do this. And it is easily recognized. And I do that every night, and I've had literally thousands and thousands of interactions with our star family.
It's amazing to think about that beings in crafts are picking up our thoughts. Well, I mean, your thoughts, not mine, but I think you know what I mean. It's amazing how they can pick up on them. And I've had other guests basically do something similar to you. And I just find it fascinating that, the connection is made through thought, or I guess thought with intention and love and emotion.
That's the key right there. When you put those key elements together and then you send that and just visualize sending it deep into the universe. And you've done it. As soon as you think you've done it, you've done it. And that's what I do. And that was the great realization that I made. Imagine, Jeff, all of the noise that's generated on this earth, between microwaves and, radio waves and everything that you can possibly imagine. And one voice, one person that is sending a very specific frequency. and it's carrying all of this information and positive thought deep into the universe. And that is something that they recognize and honor. And they honor me as I honor them. And I look forward to sharing the videos with you later on that shows that this is interactive. It's not a passive thing. That's another important point is you can't just sit and kind of wait for something to happen. It really takes a concerted effort. It's not difficult though. It's not convoluted. It's not hours of meditation or ritual. It's just having the right frequency and then generating those thoughts. And when you do that, they are, literally there within a minute or two. And it's fascinating to me.
Earlier, you mentioned that they helped you with the title of your book. In what other ways are they communicating with you?
Often when if I was in meditation, and generally I meditate with my guitar. When I'm playing music, I'm meditating, at the same time. But this was a specific meditation. And they were giving me peace to all, over and over. And immediately I wrote a piece called Peace to All. And I'll send that to you, and you can include that any way you wish, or you can go to I have a Reverb Nation site that has all of my music, and that was inspired by that lovely thought, and that's the frequency they send to us, Jeff, is this, peace and love and connection, and that each of us are so important. That I think that to me is the key as well, that every life is like a fingerprint. It's so completely unique. And when you share that with our star family, with the universe, they recognize that, and they will see you for who you are specifically. When I go out every morning after I had a set, when we finish here, I'll go out again. But the next morning, I always thank you for coming to see me. It is such a pleasure to see you. And I don't see them with my actual vision, but I know they hear me, and I know that they recognize that I'm communicating with them at all times. And that's a very important part of this, is to recognize that what we do is reverberates throughout the universe as well, all our actions. And I've really been careful about that from this realization that when you help someone, the universe recognizes that. They see that. And I've had that many times when I was helping some elderly friends of mine, and the craft would come in, and they would recognize that I'm doing a helpful thing for someone, and I thought that was a lovely realization too.
At any point, and especially on the very first time that you saw the craft, did you have any fear?
I did not. It was actually the answer to my question. And I saw that, and the energy they gave was so beautiful. And I'll just say that was the first one. So I was very excited about that realization. And so I kept playing on my deck and projecting into the universe. And a few days later, there were 4 craft that came in 2 sets of 2. One red and 3 gray craft. I think I may have said yellow when I was speaking with Whitney. I meant to say they were gray craft. 1 red and three gray ones, and they were just spinning silently above my courtyard. And I went to get my camera, because I bought a new camera because of the challenge I had with my phone, and when I came back out, they were gone. But I thought they might stay the way the purple craft had stayed, but they didn't. And so that was 2, and I was very, very intrigued and inspired by that. And I started playing more and really projecting and experimenting with my mind while I'm playing, because one part of your mind is creating music while the other part of your mind is is projecting. And it was a different experience and a really beautiful one for me. And Jeff, that's when the big ones came. So I played, and I took my dog. It was in the middle of the day, like 3 in the afternoon. And I was walking back in the neighborhood, and right over our courtyard was a cross and crescent shape, two craft. They were metallic, burnished metal. They both were at a 45-degree angle, and they were the size of office buildings, going about 5 miles an hour, completely silent. And I ran in to get Karen, and she saw them just as they were crossing the roof line. And I had my new camera, and I was fumbling with it, and I was considering, okay, what am I going to do? And then in my mind, very clearly, they said, please don't take our picture. We'll give you something you can take a picture of. And I honored that, Jeff. I could have run around the building and photographed them or filmed them as they were exiting, but I honored that request. And honestly, I was just kind of overwhelmed and overcome by that magnificent experience. And about 10 days later, a friend of mine were going to see Gravity, the movie, and we'd agreed to meet at a certain time during the day. And so I walked out my back door and I took a left, and I heard, look over here. And right where the cross and crescent first were, when I first saw them, was a beautiful heart-shaped cloud, perfectly made and set and just looking directly at me. And that's what's on the cover of my book. I was able to get a picture of that. And what a lovely thing. I mean, they promised to give me something I could take a picture of, and I can't imagine a more personal gift than that. And they've done that many times over the years.
At what point did they let you start filming them?
Yeah, that's a great question. Absolutely. I was at the park. We have a little park next door, and it's a rain garden, and we have a lot of runoff, but we have Marsh Creek, which is an important tributary to the Chattahoochee right behind us. And so they've built a rain garden over there that takes the runoff from the roads and that filters the water, and then that dumps into the creek, and that goes to Chattahoochee. And so it's a little bowl of open sky. And so I've been using that area. We have an agreement to meet there every night at 9 o'clock. And I asked permission first, because we're very civil with each other. And I think that's another key point is, I don't try to do things without speaking with them first about that. I think that's the best way to have a mature relationship with somebody, is to be very open. And that's what I've decided to do. And as soon as I did that, and I bought some equipment, and I can share with you what I use, because I put a lot of time and effort into getting the correct equipment so that I can actually videotape them at night, because that's generally where we see each other for the most part. I see them during the day too, of course, but we have an agreement at night, and I go there for maybe 45 minutes to an hour every clear night, and I sit down, and what I do, Jeff, is I don't bring my guitar because I'm busy filming, but as musicians, we have music in our minds all the time. And so I'm playing music in my mind. I do all of I set my guitar in the way that classical guitarists hold their instrument. And then the tones of the strings are well established in my mind. So I tune the guitar in my mind, and then I say, what piece I want to play. And so I begin playing my music. And then what I do as well is I speak to them directly. Hi, this is John Martin, the guitarist that has played for you so many times. I'm friends with President Carter and Whitley Strieber, and all the people that are important to me that a lot in this field that Scott Thomas and there's so many people that I honor and respect, and I would really love to see you tonight. And there's many kinds of craft. There's the flying craft. There's a winged craft that comes in. And on the video, I was just filming, and I said, I'm just filming randomly, but it's never random, is it, dear friends? And as soon as I said that, it popped right into the viewing screen of this camera. And this is a Psionics Aurora, and I put a 3x magnifier. I found a guy online that does that, and it gives you really tight, clear pictures that you can make with this camera. And so it dropped right into that spot and flew in and stopped and did a 90-degree turn and started doing all these aerobatics. And it's done that many times. And so that is, there's a quantum level of connection there too. And when it's that, immediate, it's really incredible what they're able to do.
Do you think that these beings have any message for humanity?
They absolutely do. Yeah, the cross and the crescent, this was in 2013, and that was kind of the height of all of the conflict between Islam and Christianity. And I mean, it's been going on for centuries, but we were, dealing with all of the wars in the Middle East. And so, they made craft out of these two shapes, a cross and a crescent. And then they made a heart-shaped cloud as the response to as the gift that they wanted to give me in response to me seeing those two craft. So they were saying that there should be peace and love between these two major religions. And I thought that was an amazing thing. And at the same time, Jeff, just a few months prior in Wiltshire, England, is a cross and crescent crop circle. And there's many of those. And later on, they actually made a star-shaped cloud for me, a perfect star at my park. And there's cross and crescent and star-shaped crop circles as well. So there's definitely these messages that, we need to stop fighting and see that we all are connected and we're all one. And we should have love as the binding element for all of this. And that's sort of a main message that I've garnered from this.
Even though you're a soloist, I'm wondering if you ever experienced this. As a musician, sometimes when I would be playing live, if the band was really tight and the crowd was great, you would just get this feeling that's almost kind of indescribable. It's kind of almost like a high, like you become the music. And it's like some kind of energetic feeling. Do you ever, if not often, feel that when you're playing?
Wow, that was beautifully said, my friend. Wow, yes, absolutely. I mean, there's often times when I'm playing and I'm just kind of watching because I've moved into a different level, and it's a transcendental moment, and I have that very often, and that's the place you need to be. And the reason I wrote the book, Jeff, is because we all have that in some way or another, something that moves us. Each person specifically, they have dedicated their lives to learning something and sharing it and discovering, all of the aspects that we can in this lifetime. And that is of great interest to our star family. And, if you're a mathematician, share your most elegant computations and formulas. And if you're an artist, create art outside. If you raise a beautiful family, share what that feeling is when you have such wonder and love and respect and caring for your family, and share that with the universe. And they will come in and acknowledge everything, like in a way that will resonate with you. And I truly think they curate the experience for each of us. They've definitely curated my experience for me. And I think each person will have their own experiences. And that's why I wrote the book. Can you imagine if there's millions of us that go out specifically and they can curate each one, and, all of the wonderful possibilities that would be opened by that, I think is worth all of the effort that we put into it.
You use the word star family, and sometimes I have guests who claim to be star seeds, and some of them will even claim that prior to this life, they were a being on another planet. Does any of that resonate with you?
It does. And this, to me, this is just a point on the curve for me. And, I've been doing it for seriously now for 10 years. And so I think 10 years from now, I'll be in a completely different place and I'll have an entirely different set of references that I can consider. I feel like, I may well have been to other planets as well, but I don't have any direct knowledge of that. I don't know who our star family is. I think I just consider them friends and family. And they did say to me directly, I was writing in the book, and they said to me, when when we are referred to as Andromedans, just understand there are a trillion stars in Andromeda. And it would be like us referring to you as the Milky Wayans. And I never considered that. So I just, I accept it for who they are, and, that the energy is there and we care for each other and we have these beautiful interactions, and I'm open to the next level. But I don't want to overstep what I know at this point, really. I think, what I've created at this point, I think is valid, and it's going to blossom into something that I'll be able to speak more of in the coming years, I believe.
Let's take a look at your video.
Jeff, I made this compilation for you, and it's just a handful of my interactions with our star family, and I feel they're highly interactive. I think it's the next level in contact. It goes far beyond witnessing craft or energies or balls of light. This is an active interchange between the intelligences and myself. And so I'll go ahead and play that for you. Just randomly. It's never random, Mr. Friends. Wow. Tell me that's not the greatest thing you've ever seen. Wow, friends. Spectacular. It's never random, Mr. Friends. Wow. Tell me that's not the greatest thing you've ever seen. Wow, friends. Here's my friend. Hey, beautiful one. Oh, my gorgeous friend. You are so awesome. So great to see you, no matter your friend. Hey, how are you, brother? Oh, how wonderfully done. You could be a sister as well. Love you. That was perfect. Thank you so much. Awesomely done. You are so cool. You are so incredible. How wonderfully done, beautiful one. How absolutely incredible you are. You are just absolutely fantastic. Thank you for that. Ooh, nice turn. Hey. Hey. You are always a part of us, aren't you, dear one? You are magnificent, just like all mother. Beautiful friends. How gorgeous. Forgive me for steering away, dear friend. And to look at my dear friend here. Can you turn? Yes, you can. Wow. You are super moving. Can you turn again? Yes. Wow. Thank you, Liz. Oh, there's my friends. Oh, there's two. Oh, how gorgeous. Wow. So awesome, friends. Beautifully done. Wow. That was great. Thank you, sweet friends. You're so awesome. There you are. Hey, beautiful, lovely friends. You're so wonderful and amazing, dear ones. Much love to you always. Hey, so well done. Thank you, sweet friends. So much love to you, dear ones. Thank you. Beautifully done. Thank you, dear friend. Hey, beautiful one. Hey, sweet friend. You're so awesome. Absolutely great. Hey, sweet friend. So amazing. Whoa, y'all are doing it together. Whoa, I'm going to follow this one. Oh, it's so amazing. Thank you, beautiful ones. Absolutely great. Beautifully done. Thank you. Gorgeous. Halfway done, friends. Thank you. Hey, my friend. Hey, lovely one. So good to roll you in this way, too. How wonderful. Wonderfully done, friends. Thank you. Gorgeous. Just absolutely amazing. Look at that. Thank you, gorgeous ones. My gracious. You are really doing it tonight. Thank you. That is the most amazing thing ever. Thank you, lovely ones.
Maybe I'll straighten out. Yeah, it's high.
Yeah, nice. Oh, wow. You did it again, sweet friends. I love y'all. Thank you. Thank you for that. You did it. You absolutely did it. Thank you. Thank you, beautiful ones. Wow. Thank you for doing it again for me, sweet friends. Amazing. Thank you, gorgeous ones. Thank you, my dear friends. So incredible. Thank you, loveliest. Wow. Here's my friend. Hey, beautiful one. Hey, look at you turning. Oh, how wonderful. Thank you, beautiful one. Wow. You are the greatest. Hey, sweet dear friend. That was magnificent. Thank you, dear one. Hey, dear friend. So great to see you today. Thank you. Oh, look at that. Oh, look at you turning so beautifully, friends. Hey, gorgeous. Thank you, friend. So beautifully done. Thank you.
I love that. Thank you, friends. Gorgeous. Those are my friends right there. Oh, hey. Hey, friend. That was beautifully done. Thank you. Whoa. Gorgeous, friends. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Wow. Come here, Bo. Hey, friends. My goodness. That's amazing. Oh, what are you doing? Wow. That was great, friends. Thank you. Wow. Just amazing. So cool. Hey, friends. So awesome. Maybe that's just not very high, but almost hit it. It's much closer. Hey, you do that. There's another one right there. There's a plane behind it. Hey, friends. Wow. Hey, beautiful one. It's just truly amazing. Wow. Hey there. That is so cool. I mean, you can't be 200 feet. I wouldn't take it all. Right there above the house. Hey, friends. Hey, gorgeous ones. Wow. So cool, friends. So cool indeed. Thank you. There's another one right there. There's a plane behind it. Hey, friends. Wow. Hey, beautiful one. It's just truly amazing. Wow. Hey there. That is so cool.
That was amazing. Thank you for sharing that with us.
Oh, you're welcome. You're very welcome. That's our star family.
I believe what you call what you're doing CE6.
Mm-hmm.
What is the difference between that and CE5?
Yeah, CE5 is very important. And it's, you're gathering together or you're on your own and you go out and you're open to the experience and you're very thankful and grateful when you see the craft if and when they come in, and there's generally some kind of response from the universe. But a CE6 is active, and it's bold, and it's you saying that you have agency, and that you have this right to share who you are with the universe. And so you do that in a loving and positive way. And when you do that, then that takes it to the next level. And you have another video. I may have thousands of individual videos, but they come in and they flash. There's actual craft in different videos as well, and you can feel the energy. If you were with me, Jeff, and hopefully one day we may be able to do that together. But the ethereal energies, excuse me, that are coming from these beautiful beings is just an amazing, life-changing event. Really, I mean, it's absolutely incredible. And so the CE6 is, you boldly taking the initiative to go out and actively share who you are with the universe, and then whatever the universe curates for you specifically, then you bounce off each other, and the energy they send you is reflected back to them, and it's a dynamic, and they create, I call them aeroglyphs, and they've made so many of these absolutely incredible showings of love and intelligence through clouds and different formations. That's another aspect of it. And I think a real revelation for me is that the nature is also deeply involved with our star family. Whenever the metallic craft come in, there's many hawks. We have Cooper's hawks, red tails, and owls, and many other birds of prey around here in my neighborhood. There's roosts all around. There's actually a roost directly behind me at the park up in the pine trees, and they see that I can interact with the intelligences in the way that they can, or similar. And so I've become great friends with all of our hawks. We interact very often. And when the aeroglyphs are created, the hawks are always around. And in my book, you'll see a number of aeroglyphs and the hawks are right there with them, because there's a frequency that's given off by these beautiful creations. I have aeroglyphs with actually craft in the center of the heart, and you see a kind of a ringed craft and barely in our dimension, and an impacted heart. And I received that when I was going through a very difficult period. And that was our star family having empathy and showing love and concern for me. And it's just been an incredible experience.
More and more lately, I'm having guests having contact with crafts similar to yours. And it appears that the crafts are now letting the people film them. Why do you think they've changed their minds?
I think when you approach it in a respectful way, and that's another thing. I see so many videos with people, and the first words out of their mouth are "what the," and it's going to end up with a curse word. And don't do that. Or holy, and then another. You know, understand that the words that we say have great meaning, and we think that they're just phrases that we can just throw out there, but it's reflective of who you are. So I never do anything like that, and I always am very respectful and thankful with our star family, and I think it's great news that there's a lot of filming going on. I think this is a new phase of the interactions with these higher beings.
Do you think that anybody can learn to do this?
Absolutely think we all can do it. That's the main reason why I wrote the book, is just to give, and I go into specific detail on how I do it, and examples of how you can do it as well, and the equipment that I use and the mindset that I have, and go out there and share in a bold and loving way who you are, and understand you have that right. And yes, every single person can do that. And when we do that, then that'll be a paradigm shift for this planet. I mean, we are definitely needing some changes that that will be beneficial to humanity and the Earth itself. And I think all of this will help rise the frequency.
Do you have any predictions of your own contact with these beings? Like, do you think it's possible they'll ever bring you onto a ship?
Yes, I think that's, and I'm open to that. And in my dream state, I do that a lot. That I can, I've, I have small beings that carry me on, and I can even see the grate. It's like a wire mesh grate that I walk over as I get into the craft. But I think those are they kind of bolster the conscious experiences that I have, and I do look forward to the time where I actually do have a face to face with our star family. That's where this eventually will be going, I feel. Now, I've had some entities that have come that I have not actually seen, but have shown them. They've been very kind, and and they've come, from my own invitation, and they've been here and done different small things that are just to show that they're there. And a friend of mine, he's a very dear friend, and you probably know him, Dr. Jonathan Reed, had his experience up in the forest in Washington, and he had that really unfortunate exchange with Freddie and his beautiful dog Susie, and she was killed unfortunately by the interaction and all of that story that he dealt with, and he and I are good friends, and he's seen my videos, and he actually asked permission for if Freddie, because Freddie's healed now, and he's a big benefit to Jonathan, and I speak about my relationship with Jonathan, Dr. Reed, in my book, and he asked if I'd give permission for Freddie to come visit, and I said, sure, I'd love to visit with him. And Karen and I were down in Seaside, Florida. We go to a little beautiful rental home there on the beach, and we had a beautiful day and had great food, and the weather was wonderful. And I go out to the beach each night and I project. And normally there's many craft that come in, but that night there wasn't really any craft that I could see, and that's fine. I mean, I have nights here where there's no interaction, and I just enjoy the night. But I went back to our place and we went to bed, and I was very tired, and she was too. And we turned the lights off, and about 2 minutes later, we heard a hiccup right next to Karen's side of the bed. And Karen said, did you hear a hiccup? I said, I did hear that. And it was very peaceful. And we just went to sleep. And then the next morning, I got on Facebook Messenger and I said, okay, completely random question, does Freddie hiccup? And they all got very excited. Yes, he does when he's in a new place and he's nervous because he's not fully in our dimension when he does this, So I was able to hear him, but I didn't actually see him. And he's done a few other things as well. So it's all open. All of these experiences, they're available to us. And if you have the right mindset, it doesn't have to be a scary thing. It can be just a wonderful expansion of your spirit. And that's the way I see it.
I'm not aware of Dr. Reed. Can you please kind of break down that story about him and Freddie for me?
Yeah, Dr. Reed is a child psychiatrist, and he was working out of Washington State at a hospital. And so during his break, his dog Susie was a golden retriever and beautiful, lovely spirit. And they during his lunch break, they would go deep into the woods occasionally to just take a break and, kind of decompress from some of the really challenging interactions he'd have with his patients. And they were walking deep into the woods, and Susie went over a knoll, and then she started screaming terribly. And Jonathan, he thought maybe she backed up a bear or something like that. And so he grabbed a large stick that was next to him, near him, and he went over the knoll, and it turned out that Susie had Freddie, who was an extraterrestrial by the arm, and Freddie was swinging Susie at an incredible rate, just, I mean, unbelievable, and it killed her, unfortunately. And then somehow she turned into this white powder afterwards. It's a very amazing story, and so he hit Freddie as hard as he could with a stick, and he thought he killed him, but he actually didn't. And at the same time, he found a device called the Link, and that went, and he picked that up. He didn't know what it was, and he filmed a good bit of this. And then he also saw the craft, which is a black obelisk kind of craft that was floating about 3 feet off the ground, and he's got videos of that as well. And if you look up Art Bell and Jonathan Reed, you can get the full story. And there's been a lot of controversy with Dr. Reed, and he's been attacked in many ways. But I can just tell you, my experience with Dr. Reed is, he's a very serious person, and I actually had interactions with Freddie myself. So that's what I can say about all that.
Did he describe what Freddie looked like? And if so, what did he see?
Yeah, there's videos of Freddie. He's about 3.5 feet tall. He's a gray. He had a black suit on, skin tight, and they tried to use a razor to cut it off, to take it off with, and they were able to separate the suit, but then somehow it learned what that was, and the second time they tried to cut it, they couldn't cut it again. So it was some kind of metamaterial. And it's really a fascinating story. And unfortunately, he's had a very difficult life ever since. He lost his career, and he was hounded in many ways. So it's a tough, for him, it's been a very tough existence because of that experience.
John, after watching this podcast, people may want to reach out to you and ask you questions. Are you open to that? And if so, how can they reach you?
Absolutely. I have a YouTube channel, John Martin UFO and ET Intelligences. And actually, I'll have a specific video that will have my music and a lot more of the interactions that I'll make specifically for Jeff and your viewers. And so feel free to go there and ask questions, and I always answer and interact with all my subscribers there. So that's probably the best way to do that.
John, before we wrap it up, can you give us one last positive message?
Just know that you're important to the universe. You're important beyond what your current situation is. If you're challenged here, if things have not gone well for you, I've had that many times myself. Just know that, there's great empathy, there's great love, there's great understanding for the human condition. And go outside and just share, what your great triumphs and your challenges, and just know that you'll be met with great love and empathy from our star family. And that is really the message I would like to leave with your viewers.
John, thank you for that message, and thank you for being my guest.
Thank you, Jeff. It was a pleasure.
The pleasure was all mine. Thanks for watching the JeffMara podcast. I really appreciate you. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. And if you do, there are loyalty badges and other perks depending on your level of membership. All you need to do is click the join button underneath the video to find out more. Thank you for your support.